Whoa!
What's up, Thumpers?
Oh my God!
Oh,
That was
boy.
loud. Sweet Jesus!
Turn it up.
We're having a rock concert in our headsets, and it's the best
Wow.
concert we could have ever asked
Okay.
for.
We needed that.
That
We needed
was
that.
a
I'm awake.
jarring.
You
Yeah,
awake?
I'm good. I'm good.
Y'all thought you were going to sleep tonight,
I
didn't
was
you?
totally
That's
napping.
not going to be a thing that happens here, boys. You going to clean your ears out with that?
Yeah. No.
We're very excited to be here. We're going to be talking about our favorite films of the decade. We just recorded something. We just put out something talking about our favorite films of the year, 2019. So if you missed that video, go down in the description, or you can hit the little info icon right there. You can get check that video out. A lot of really fun titles that we got to talk about. Putting together a list for our favorite movies of the last 10 years was tough. I challenged myself to try to pick one movie from every year. Man, that was real stupid.
I did not.
Yeah, neither
That was
did.
real dumb.
Neither did I.
But I think we have a really, really cool list of movies from all three of us. Some repeat in certain places, but I'm really excited to talk about all of them.
So yours are not in any particular order.
Mine are from 2010 to 2019.
Right,
he's
but
going
you
one from every
you also
year.
didn't rank them as like,
No.
and my number one of the
Right, right.
decade
No, I did
is
not.
Yeah.
this movie.
No.
That's
Got
what
it.
Hector and I did.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
the
yes.
number one
We got
movie of
top-
the decade
top 10 movies of the
is.
decade. Yeah.
You will find out later.
Right,
Yep.
right.
All right.
Well, let's just get into it,
Let's
shall
do
we?
this. Adam, hit us with your chronology.
My chronologies. I'm super excited. So my first pick is, shouldn't be any surprise to anybody, from 2010, Inception. Love this movie. Christopher Nolan came out right after The Dark Knight and just blew me away with this movie. Was not expecting it to be what it was, which is a mind heist and a movie that completely flipped me upside down. And it was my introduction to Tom Hardy.
Much like that room, the hallway.
The what? Oh, dude, are you kidding me? That shit was insane. I remember when I saw the teaser trailer for that, and that blew my mind, seeing that in the teaser trailer. But yeah, Inception, everything, the cinematography, even the action. Sometimes I feel like Christopher Nolan's action can be pretty uneven a lot of the time.
Some of the early Batman stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for this movie, it was mostly really, really, really good.
Yeah.
And for a movie that deals with so many layers, it's all executed for the most part incredibly well, and the Hans Zimmer soundtrack is amazing.
You know what I love about Inception is when somebody took the YouTube video and they're like, "Here's Inception in real time," and they did the thing where like in
They
the
clip
car
it all
accident,
together.
and they're like, and they took the different levels and sped them up to get them to fit that moment.
Yep.
That was cool.
It's really, really well
Yeah.
done, and it showed me how original and how bold you can be when it comes to filmmaking, and the different types of techniques that have been around for almost 100 years, how you can use them to your advantage, and how you can really tell interesting character moments and just moments themselves using so many different types of technology. Really blew me away, really surprised me. So
Augustine and I each have one movie from the year 2010, and neither of them are Inception. So stay tuned. Stay tuned.
It's true.
So,
my next pick, which I'm also obviously very excited for, is Warrior. So I was on the Tom Hardy high, obviously, because we had Inception, and then I started finding out who he was, and then Warrior came out the next year, directed by Gavin O'Connor, and this is Joel Edgerton, Nick Nolte, and Tom Hardy.
classic.
Now all three actors who have now been in Star Wars, which is pretty cool.
Oh, interesting.
I love this movie. This movie also surprised me because of how it deals with PTSD, trauma, brotherhood, family, and the really crazy inner workings of what that all sort of can be at times. And you have one brother who seems to be very put together, has a normal family, and one brother who seems not, but they're also very, very similar in a lot of ways. And there's one scene in particular that Nick Nolte is in that absolutely breaks my heart every time I see it. It's a very powerful movie, and it was a great way. It was a nice follow-up for Gavin O'Connor, because the last movie of his that I had seen was Miracle.
Was that important?
Probably.
No, it's good. It's
probably
good.
expensive.
No, it's the Bluetooth speaker.
It was a Bluetooth.
Fine.
Probably
It's
expensive and probably broke,
Yeah,
but Zach will yell
does
at me
Nick
later.
Nolte end all his lines with "I have spoken"?
He should have. He should have.
You were brothers. You were brothers. I have spoken.
Yes, I just really, really love this movie, and it's very powerful. And again, another surprise of the year. There's great movies in both 2010 and 2011, but these movies both surprised me.
From the year 2011, Augustine and I have
Zero movies.
Zero movies.
This is a good comparison.
Yes,
actually.
I like it.
Yeah.
2012, Django Unchained.
Oh, hell yeah. Now you have my attention.
Yeah, I know. I know that Tarantino, for a lot of people, can kind of be a mixed bag.
Yeah.
Which totally fair. I love a lot of his movies. I
Yes.
think he's an exceptional filmmaker. I think the way
an
he
incredible
writes,
writer.
Yes, I think the way he writes and the way the actors are able to take those words and turn them into actual physical things and performance is unbelievable. This is one of my favorite Leonardo DiCaprio roles that he's done.
Yeah.
Jamie Foxx is amazing. Christoph
Yeah,
Waltz is
Christoph
amazing.
Waltz
Kerry
is such a
Washington
good
is
guy.
amazing.
Yeah.
Everything on this movie fires on all cylinders. And again, a movie that I was really unsure if I would be into, because the subject matter that it sort of revolves around is very tough to watch at times.
Yes.
And as we know, Tarantino doesn't hold anything back when it comes to violence. And so I thought maybe this movie would make me a little bit too uncomfortable. But coming off of Inglourious Basterds and how he handles that part of history, I thought, okay, he's got to be able to do Django Unchained in a similar fashion where it's going to be violent, but also like not grotesquely violent.
Right.
And man, when Jamie Foxx comes out the end
pulpy.
and just like rips everyone apart, it's amazing.
I like the way you die, boy.
Yeah, man, there's some incredible moments in this movie. And, yeah,
From the year 2012, Augustine and I each have
One movie.
Good year for movies.
That was a
year
good
for
one.
movies.
That's a
Yeah.
special year for me, and we'll
Yes.
go into it later.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure, for sure. Next on my list is Prisoners. I actually saw this movie late in the game. I, at that point, did not know who Denis Villeneuve was.
Yep.
I obviously knew who Hugh Jackman and Jake Gyllenhaal were, but I made the big mistake of not seeing this movie when it first came out in theaters. It is my favorite Hugh Jackman performance I have ever seen.
Whoa, have you seen Kate and Leopold?
Yes, I have.
Okay, fair
Hughes
enough.
Mangold, baby.
Fair enough.
Dude,
I
have
know.
you seen X-Men 3?
Yeah, dude,
Wolverine?
The Last Stand.
Whew, it was a last stand. Prisoners is chilling and dramatic, and the performances are so intense. And this is a year or two before Nightcrawler, and
Right.
Jake Gyllenhaal blew me away in Nightcrawler. But in Prisoners, though, he also does incredible work. And there's a moment in this movie that Hugh Jackman has with Paul Dano and Terrence Howard, and I don't know if it was actually improvised. I would have to look into it if it is. But the intensity and the emotion is so high and so stressful in that movie. It's an incredibly well-made movie. And it wasn't actually until after I started seeing other Villeneuve movies that I went back and I rewatched Prisoners. But as soon as I saw it, I thought, like, yeah, I've seen a lot of movies from 2013. This one for sure takes the #1 spot. It's an amazing movie. If you haven't seen it, I know you haven't.
Right.
You're going to borrow it because hot damn, it's good. It's so good.
From the year 2013, Augustine and I each have
Zero movies. Zero.
Iron Man 3, Thor: The Dark World.
Dude,
And I like Iron Man 3.
that was a rough year.
Yeah.
That was a rough year for movies.
Not as stellar as maybe some of the other.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Next on my list is from 2014. I love this movie, Chef, so goddamn much.
You do.
Yeah.
And this is the same year that had Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
And
it's probably my favorite MCU movie.
And Guardians of the
And
Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy,
Yeah.
Volume
Yep.
1.
Yep.
Guardians of the
Um,
Galaxy. Yep.
The thing with Chef is that I can watch that movie literally anytime it's on TV.
Yep.
Captain America: The Winter Soldier, I
Yep.
love it, and it's an incredibly well-made film. And for what it did to elevate that character, particularly in the MCU, is unreal. But I have to be in the right mindset to watch that movie. I got to be like fully prepped to go watch that movie. For Chef, I look at a grilled cheese sandwich and I want to go watch that movie immediately.
Homie, what that movie did for my waistline was not good. But there's something hypnotic about watching him cook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the process of watching him cook, but the story that they wove behind it
Yeah.
with the son and
Yep.
the food
Great.
truck and everything.
Yep.
John Leguizamo.
Good.
John
Very
Leguizamo
good,
is
yeah.
amazing in
Robert
that
Downey
movie.
cameo.
Yeah.
Sofia Vergara is so
Yeah,
great in that
yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
It has like everything that it's honestly the reason I started cooking so much in the last like year
I don't blame you.
is because of
I
Chef.
don't blame you.
Cool.
I would have never made a potato salad if I wasn't
Dude,
for Chef encouraging me
Is
to do
there
it.
anything Jon Favreau can't do?
The Jungle Book.
The Lion King. The
Both
Lion
of
King.
those.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, yeah.
You're right. Okay.
Yeah.
It's all right. You're human,
From-
Jon Favreau.
That's right.
You
From
made
the-
Elf, so you have every pass in the world.
From 2014, Augustine and I each have
Zero movies.
Moving right along. So I got through Chef, obviously.
Yep.
Moving on to the second part of the decade. So The Force Awakens did not take the #1 spot. That goes to Sicario, and also Creed did not take that #1 spot.
Whoa!
And it hurts sometimes because
You love Sicario.
2015 was a really, really, really good year for movies.
Yep.
And when you have something as incredible and powerful and impactful, you and I cried next to each other watching Creed.
Yes. Babbled. I would say babbled, wept.
Yeah.
Even.
Yeah. And it's an incredible movie. But then I saw Sicario, and then I saw, again, Denis Villeneuve, this time, again, with Roger Deakins, what they did filmmaking-wise, character-wise, the intensity, the emotion. Josh Brolin is amazing in that movie. Benicio del Toro is very intense. Emily Blunt is in this movie.
Killer.
And she is so fucking good. I want to see more roles like that for her because I think a lot of people, and we got it with Edge of Tomorrow, and I want to see more of that from her because she brings so much humanity and intensity to those types of roles.
Fingers crossed for Jungle Cruise, bro.
Yeah,
Fingers
bro.
crossed that's real intense.
I'm really excited to see the teaser trailer for A Quiet Place Part 2, though. That comes out on New Year's Day.
Oh, yeah.
That's
So,
right. Also, Sicario 2, biggest letdown ever?
Oh,
yeah,
sorry,
I think it was a really big mistake
Yeah.
to not bring back Denis Villeneuve
Yeah.
and Roger Deakins.
Yeah.
I get it, though. They really wanted to put a movie out,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's not a bad movie. Just compared to Sicario, the first one, it's not as
there.
strong.
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
not
there.
there.
It's
Just
not
like
there.
a Secret of the Ooze scenario.
Oh, yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Happens all the time. From the year 2015, I have one film, and Augustine has
2 films.
two films.
Oh, nice,
And,
nice.
and
Yeah.
my movie is one of Augustine's
Yes.
movies from 2015.
And the other movie that you have,
Ooh.
Come on, man.
Ooh.
I could have easily
We'll
argued.
get to it. Don't
I could have
spoil
easily
it.
argued 3 movies for 2015.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
'Cause
Avengers:
damn.
Age
'Cause it
of
was-
Ultron.
Yeah.
Ant-Man.
Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunter.
Oh no.
Abraham Lincoln Vampire
Oh,
Hunter.
No. Oh,
Any of those
no.
movies would have
Oh,
been fantastic.
No. I'm moving along.
2016.
2016, Moonlight.
Ooh,
Yes.
gorgeous movie.
Yeah.
This again, another movie that I would say 2016 was when I really started paying attention to movies. And what I mean by that is, like, normally I was always kind of down to watch anything.
Yeah.
And then when Moonlight started coming out, it's the same year as La La Land, and I love La La Land.
I like it too.
Yeah,
And
and
people not liking it, totally valid.
exactly. And,
Get it.
Yeah. And I really love that movie. And a lot of people are like, well, Moonlight's better. I'm like, okay, I got to watch this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then you watch it and you see the evolution of these characters and you see the performances. Mahershala Ali's amazing. Naomi Harris is
next level.
next
Next
level in
level.
this movie.
Okay.
'Cause she's
The-
British.
Yes.
I love when great British actors can just do like a flawless American accent.
But also like the material and
Yeah.
what that character goes through and how it affects the main character and his story. It's just like, it's one of the most layered movies that I've seen, and the way that it deals with so many themes and it has so much nuance in it. And it's just such an impressive movie. And like, so it edged out La La Land just by a smidge. And it's beautiful. I mean, the poster alone for that movie is incredible.
Yeah, that casting is great.
yeah,
Of the
it's-
3 ages of the main
yes,
character
yes,
is so good.
yes.
From 2016, I have Zero Movies. And Augustine, you have?
Una película.
That's a good movie too.
It is a
película.
good
Good
movie.
movie
Can
too.
you guys hear me in your cans, by the way?
Yes.
I'm
Yep.
out in my
Absolutely.
cans. So
Oh,
it's cool.
really?
It's fine. I can still hear you fine.
Okay.
God damn it.
It's okay.
nice.
Don't
That
worry
thing
about it. Hey,
fell.
dude, we're resourceful. We're scrappy. Let's keep it moving.
Okay, you got it. You sound good. Okay, 2017.
From 2017, Luca Guadagnino's Call Me By Your Name, starring Timothy Chalamet and Armie Hammer. I think the big thing that I love about this movie, it takes place in Italy in 1983. I have been to Italy a couple times. I went there when I was younger in like the early 2000s. And obviously it's probably because the director's Italian. The way it captures the essence
I love it.
of European life.
I love it.
And being a traveler and a tourist in a foreign country in Italy, and the relationship between the two characters who like eventually do fall in love, it's so powerful. And it was such a surprising movie for me.
Great.
And it's the same year that we got The Last Jedi, and I really like
Yo.
that movie.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a little bit more of the same. It elevates the material, but it's a little bit more of the same. Call Me By Your Name was something so original and impactful and so surprising to me, and it just really captured this like love that I have for European countryside, and it just really sat well with me, and I just love the movie.
That's
I
awesome.
adore it.
Have you been to Italy since watching the movie?
I'm supposed to go in the summer.
Oh, dude.
so
Okay, cool.
We'll see.
Oh, that's right. It's part of that trip.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From the year 2017, Augustine, you have 2 movies.
2 películas?
Yes, because I don't want to tell you, but
Dos
the second
películas.
one down,
Uh-huh.
I'm not going to say which one it is. You have the wrong
Yeah.
year. That
Oh, I
is-
do have the wrong year.
So
So I have
that's 2.
dos películas.
And from 2017,
Yeah.
I have 5 movies from that year.
God damn.
Half of my list is that year. Turns out, that was a good year for movies
Turns
for
out
me.
it was
Wow,
a good year.
that was
Good
a
year
good
for
year
me,
for Hector.
2017.
That's too
Sure.
funny.
2017 was a good year.
Yeah.
2018.
Oh,
Yeah, this movie was dope as shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it pops up in a few other lists, so we'll get to it. We'll talk about it in depth a little bit more. But like Avengers Infinity War, send tweet. I don't need to say much else. And then my final pick for this decade, Peanut Butter Falcon, 2019. I talked about this movie as my favorite movie of this year. I absolutely adore this movie, and I love the relationship and the friendship in this movie, and the warmth and the heart that it has.
I love it.
And I was really happy to have this movie close out the year. And of course, because there are still movies coming out this year, could this change? Could this become my number 2? Sure. But right now,
You know
Peanut
what
Butter
I found?
Falcon is a strong number 1.
You know what I found, especially when you break it down like that year by year, when you're talking about like, 2012 as a whole, as a year. My favorite movie of 2012 was different in 2012 than it is today.
For
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
As the years
Always
go
evolves.
by, I'm like, you know what? I fucking love this movie more. And things change, and that's what I love about revisiting.
Movies age, some movies don't age
so
that
do you.
well.
And we change as
and
people.
we change.
I love
Your
it.
heart changes.
In
your brain
2013,
changes.
I probably would have said my favorite movie of that year was like Man of Steel.
Sure.
And
sure.
then I watched more
almost threw
movies.
that on my list, but I was
Yeah.
like, there's other movies that kind of edge it out.
Sure.
So, yeah,
Uh,
you're right. You're
Adam,
right.
can you do me a favor? Can you not bring up the first picture, but the second picture? I want to go from bottom to top. I want
Sure.
to go my number 10 movie of the decade, all the way counting down up to my number 1
So
movie.
the list
Yes.
style has changed now.
It's
We gotta
inverse
make
now.
it clear.
Pull up the. I'll
So-
make sure to. I'll
so
make sure to do
we
that.
are not
I done
going,
goofed.
Hector and I
It's fine.
are not going by year.
Nope.
We are going top movies of the decade.
Fat 10 right there.
Fat 10 from 2010
that
to
chode of
2019.
the chode of movies you love.
That taint.
Woo!
That juicy
so,
taint.
So what you're looking at right now is you want to look at the movie on the far right. That's my number 10. Far right from 2017, Kong Skull Island. I love this movie
It's a good
so
movie.
much.
It's a good movie.
I think especially with this year, Godzilla King of the Monsters coming out, I re-hyped myself and rewatched the first Godzilla, Gareth Edwards, and then rewatched this, which I own on 3D Blu-ray, Kong Skull Island. And let me just double check real quick. Okay, all but one of my movies are 3D. Okay, wanted to make sure. All right. so just assume when I talk about these movies, I'm talking about the 3D version of these movies.
Of course.
Kong Skull Island, the more I watched like the behind the scenes of this movie and listened to the commentary and then read like the art book and then read like the novelization, like I got into this movie. I did the research. Jordan Vogt Roberts, the director, I love this dude because this dude would talk about classic film influences in the same breath as video games and anime.
Right.
Because to him, they are the same level of importance in terms of his influence as a filmmaker. And it feels in many ways, listening to this guy talk for the first time, I feel like this guy's me. This guy's us. This guy's our generation.
Right.
He fucking gets it. He's going to do Metal Gear Solid, the
Yeah.
movie. Like, that level of excitement. I love his passion.
We were at his Hall H panel. Remember,
Oh,
Adam?
the
The
best.
way he was talking about it, it
Yep.
was just I was
Hype.
like,
Yep.
this guy's great. And
Yes.
then the way they presented it in Hall H,
Yeah.
the whole building was shaking when Godzilla. I'm sorry, Hector. Sorry. Kong. I know.
Kong,
I know,
USA,
I know.
USA. Kong.
The sound just like it reverberated in the room. The whole building was shaking, and you really felt that intensity
Yeah.
Absolutely.
of Kong in that movie.
So,
yeah,
I
don't blame
think
you.
I think that it is just a fun, like pulpy movie.
Totally.
But I love a lot of the. First of all, King Kong is just as a thing inherently racist. King Kong.
Yes.
And the decisions they made in this movie and how they like portray indigenous people, like this little
Right.
tribe of people, I'm like, I think that's really smart too. Like, there's so many different fun layers about it. The cast is so much fun. Kong Skull
Every
Island.
Avengers in that movie.
But then
Seriously,
there's
it's great.
John C. Reilly with
Carl,
the samurai sword.
Who's a fucking ant? It sounds like a bird, but it's an ant. Yeah, like it's honestly, John C. Reilly with a samurai sword. Enough said. All right, now my number 9 movie. My number 9 from the year 2012, John motherfucking Carter.
Secretly number 1.
Almost.
We have agreed that it's
Here's-
the greatest movie of all time.
Here's why I love this movie. Andrew Stanton, coming off of Finding Nemo,
Yeah.
took a shot at live action, made this movie in a very similar way that he would typically make an animated film, which did include like reshoots and tweaking and all this other stuff. The score is by Michael Giacchino, perfect score. To me, I think, so perfectly translates a 100-year-old book and like world that ended up influencing Edgar Rice Burroughs' John Carter of Mars and A Princess of Mars, influencing Superman the comic book, Avatar, James Cameron's Avatar, so many different iterations that I feel like did a great job of translating that 100-year-old thing, bringing it to the modern day while still paying homage to like the pulpiness of it.
Yeah.
I love to listen to this score and read old sci-fi. It's just like the perfect thing to do for it. So, and also Willem Dafoe as Tars Tarkas is so good. When I saw you come into this world, I knew things could be different. He's just the best.
And
I really like
You are
working on that
ugly,
movie.
but you are also beautiful. Yeah.
And also, Hector, you were a lead 3D artist at that point,
Was
right?
I a lead?
I think you were a lead at that point.
Fantastic. Well, I
You
think
were-
I may have worked on a couple
He doesn't
shots.
know what he's
Yeah,
done with his
you
life.
I
you
did.
worked on that
I
movie.
I did.
You were
I-
a lead artist.
I worked on a few shots.
Don't
and,
brush that under the rug, dude.
and
That's
again,
important.
when it
This is
came-
our decade.
For sure. When it came out in 2012, again, I was like, that's cool. I like that movie. But since then, I've been like, I think this movie is underrated.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
think
100%
that-
agree.
You know what I mean?
When I
think
saw
that-
it in theaters, I
yeah.
was like, why is everyone hating on this movie?
Yeah,
It's great.
I think it's really special and has a lot of special
It's
moments.
it's a
but
fun pulpy adventure.
It's kind of just like pulp itself. It's like those old classic stories. It's like it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
It can't, you know,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
kind of makes sense that it bombed in a way. My number ocho movie of the decade from 2017, the first of many movies from 2017, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 2. Love the MCU. I love the Guardians. Surprise franchise of this series because I expected to love the Spider-Mans and the Captain Americas and all that other stuff. But James Gunn's Guardians is really special. And Guardians 2, I think, has more emotional highs and lows, and it's gorgeous. And I love hearing Fleetwood Mac's The Chain, and I love that this movie's last shot, if you don't count the post-credit scenes or the mid-credit scenes, the last shot of this movie is a fucking raccoon crying because it learned that he will always have a family even if he's being an asshole about, like, just stupid stuff like that. A Yondu, that they made you care about Yondu, who in the
Yondu's
first
the man.
movie was just like, hey,
This
come on, man.
gross
Yeah.
dude. Yeah.
I think it's a stunning
I also
movie.
think you love this movie because I don't love this movie as much as you do.
Sure.
It's a
But
dad
I think
movie.
Yes, because you have a very special connection with your dad.
Yeah.
Your dad and movies.
Gonna make me cry.
Like even though like I don't know your guys' relationship,
Sure.
but you have something special with him
Yeah.
and this movie resonated with you. Like I don't have that type of connection with my dad.
Sure.
So I can't even take him to the movies because he'll fall asleep. Like we don't have that. Like if he's not watching soccer, he's not going to stay awake.
And I don't have a dad,
Sure.
Yes,
so
see, so there you go. So like that's why Adam and
degrees of
I
separation.
don't vibe as much. But
Sure,
I
sure,
I
sure.
love that you
It
vibe
is-
with this
but that's
so
what's
much.
that's what I love
Yeah.
about movies. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
It is a little or very well-known fact that I am a sucker for a father-son relationship in a movie.
Right, right, right.
And that is obviously, of course, because of the baggage that I bring to movies, and
Absolutely.
that's my own relationship.
We all
with my
we all
dad,
have
so
our
yeah.
baggage, Hector.
We all have our
We all
baggage.
have our baggage.
Speaking of baggage, my number 7 movie
Speaking
from the year 2010, Toy Story 3. The best Toy Story movie, a movie that came out around the time I was near Andy's age.
Okay.
And I was near Andy's age in 1995 and in 1999, and this thing has such a
This is your trilogy.
Ooh, yes, it is. This thing has such an amazing ending, and it
Yeah,
is so
yeah.
sad and so beautiful and so uplifting and poignant and touching. But
Yeah.
it also has some of the best comedy of the Toy Story.
Yeah.
Like Pixar came hard with the jokes.
Yeah.
Like the Mr. Potato Head sequence where he's like in a pickle and then
Yeah.
a tortilla. Like the
Yeah.
escape
Yeah.
sequence. Like it's just
That
fantastic.
real hardcore Buzz action sequence that
Yes,
they have outside.
Spanish Buzz
Yeah, Spanish
is
Buzz.
really good. There's just so many great things about this movie. I love the villain of
Yeah.
Lotso Huggin'
Dude,
Bear. I
Lotso
love
Huggin'
the
Bear
setting.
was
I love
Crazy.
I've never
Yeah.
been so I never felt so tense in a kids movie
Right, exactly.
like I did in Toy
Yeah.
Story 3.
Where your antagonist is a giant pink bear.
Yeah.
Or like a tiny
Yeah.
pink bear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess.
And I'll never forget the first time I watched this movie. I was able to go to a midnight showing at a theater in San Diego where I had some friends and some of them worked at a movie theater. It was at an Ultra Star in Chula Vista, Ultra Star Cinemas, and they would play movies at like 1 or 2 in the morning. And this was like a week or so in advance whenever they got the print. And I'm watching Toy Story 3, and it opens with a recreation of how Andy was playing with his toys at the beginning of Toy Story 1.
Right, right,
Where it's
right,
like, well, I brought my force field dog.
Yeah,
Well, I
and
brought
there
my
was a real
dinosaur
force-
that eats force field
Yeah,
dog.
yeah, yeah.
And they recreated it in
Yeah.
this big epic action
Yeah.
scene. And I remember I started like tearing up because
Yeah.
I didn't expect that, and it
Right.
was like that Anton Ego moment where I was like, it's in my childhood, like holy
It's in my
shit.
DNA.
It's in my DNA.
I know Toy Story 3.
Because I started saying the line before they said
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Because those lines, like
Right, right,
stink. It's like One-Eyed Pete or whatever. It's like it's One-Eyed Pete. Like
Yeah.
that's beautiful about Toy Story
Yeah.
3. So that's my number 7 movie. My number 6 movie from the decade is, from 2015, the only 2D film on my list. Creed. We don't have to talk about it because maybe it'll be on Augustine's list.
Maybe. Who knows?
But Creed is
Pizza Chef.
is my connection to the Rocky franchise. I think I watched all the Rocky movies in anticipation for Creed, or maybe I had already seen them once, but I think it's an incredible movie, and nothing makes me work harder at the gym than Creed music that comes on.
I mean,
Luca Ronson.
what else would you want to listen to, really?
Yep, it's so good. All right, let's go to my first screen so that I can do my top 5. My number 5 movie of the decade from the year 2017. It is Thor Ragnarok on the far right. Thor Ragnarok. Taika Waititi, I think, brought a really brilliant level of commentary to an otherwise super colorful, fun, hilarious, and epic action movie. Best use of Led Zeppelin songs in a movie. So much fun to watch in 3D.
Probably one of the only.
That's what I was going to say. It's
They're
probably
very tight with
because
their,
they don't
because
let their music
licensing.
out.
no other movie should try. Every character in this movie, new and old, is kind of used perfectly. And I have some bummers about it. I'm bummed that the Warriors 3 are killed. I'm
Right.
bummed that
Yeah.
that there's no Sif in the movie. That those
Right.
kinds of sort of threads were dropped, but. Or like Jane Foster's not in the movie with
Right.
little references here. Sorry, Jane dumped you. It was a mutual dumping. But Taika's coming back with Thor: Love and Thunder, and I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of that stuff sort of picked up again. But Thor Ragnarok is debatably the best MCU movie. It is so effing funny, but also revamped Thor and then put him in a place to where when he shows up in Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, he's one of the best characters. You know what I mean? And that could not have happened coming out of Avengers Age of Ultron. Could not have happened
There's
with that
no
Thor.
singular MCU character that has this many solo movies.
Yeah, he's getting a fourth.
He's
Nobody
getting
else
a
is
fourth.
getting
He's
four.
getting his own solo movies.
Nobody else is getting four.
And also, Korg.
Yes.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Have Korg.
Hey, man.
Come on,
I
mate.
know.
It's the best.
Hey, man.
My number 4 movie of the decade. Happy about this one. It is pull that shit up, baby, from the year 2017.
I was going to add something about Thor Ragnarok, but it's fine.
Go
Keep
ahead.
going.
What were you
gonna say? What were you gonna say?
All I was going to say was the thing that really impressed me about Thor Ragnarok was the fact that we had 2 Thor movies, and despite the fact that both didn't do so well, Marvel still moved
That's
forward.
what I'm saying.
That's what I love.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
find it more and more really hard to watch Thor 1.
Yeah. Oh,
With his
After
eyebrows.
we've evolved
Yeah.
past it.
Yeah.
It was great in 2011,
Right.
but we have evolved past
Right,
it. It's a
definitely.
stepping stone to get
Yeah.
us to where
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
And also the same with Thor 2, but I also love that Marvel again later in Avengers Endgame,
that
they're like,
off.
let's revisit
Yeah.
our shittiest movie.
They made Thor 2
Better.
a lot more
Yeah.
than it should
I
have.
just
yeah.
imagine a world where a studio that shall not be named, Warner Brothers, where we're like, yeah, Man of Steel maybe didn't do the numbers we wanted to, but we're going to keep going
Yeah,
because we
yeah.
believe in this character. That would be wonderful if we got a Superman
Oh, yeah.
2 at this point,
That would be amazing.
right? I'm a
Go
beautiful
watch
baby
The
boy.
Witcher.
Yeah, go watch The Witcher. See him, go watch Mission Impossible
Impossible
Fallout.
Go watch
Bum,
Mission
bum.
Impossible Fallout, Yeah.
My number 4 movie of the decade, it is Fuck the Trolls, The Last Jedi, the best Star Wars
Yeah,
movie.
baby.
Suck my nuts, dude. Suck them. Suck both of them. It's the best Star Wars movie. It is daring. I'll never forget one of my favorite things about watching the movie. The first time we saw it, we were
Yeah.
at Disney.
Yeah.
You were sitting right there. I was sitting right here. And the moment where Luke throws his lightsaber, you were like, And I was like, I started laughing.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
that experience, I think, perfectly sums up how people sort of first experience this movie.
Right.
Is like, you're kind of either already going to be on board, or at least you're like, what is this? This is
right.
totally different.
Yeah.
Or you're going to be like, why are they doing this way?
Yes.
Why are they treating Luke
Right.
Skywalker
Yeah.
this way? And and that's all fair and valid. Because the movie counts on you bringing your expectations to it and your
Exactly.
baggage and how much you
Exactly.
love these characters. But by the end of the movie, I can tear up thinking about how goddamn heroic Old Man Luke is and what he does, where he shows up to face off against the New Order. And it's Master Skywalker, wink at C-3PO, walk out, right? Kiss Leia on the forehead. No
play
one's
that-
ever
I
really
play that
gone.
track a
The
lot.
spark, baby.
It's
We're the
great.
spark that's going to light the fire under the rebellion's ass and get it going. Star Wars The Last Jedi, I think, is the best Star Wars. And everything that it says about Rey is beautiful, about you can come from nowhere and still be the hero of your own
Rey
story.
from
and
nowhere.
Rey from
My
nowhere.
favorite part.
I mean, I love it. I love Old Man Luke. It makes makes Luke my favorite. I used to love Han. I used to be a Han guy over Luke Skywalker, original
Justice for
trilogy.
Han.
Yeah, justice for Han. Yeah, he kind of got justice. I liked it. I liked it. But honestly, Last Jedi made me go, I think Luke is my favorite. Like of the classic sort of Star Wars character. Cassian Andor is my favorite character of all Star Wars media, whatever. But
Luke is always my favorite. Well, that's not true. Obi-Wan has typically been my favorite character, but I learned to love Luke Skywalker a lot as I got older because I understood his journey and his story just a lot better. And then you're right. When Last Jedi came out, I went to go see it. I was like, this is a really weird.
He quit. He hid himself.
Like I don't know how to process this.
Right.
And as we get through the movie more and more and more, you learn like, yeah, he's human.
Exactly.
I love it.
I was like, shit, he's all these great things, but he's also just a fucking person.
You can still see hints of that whiny little teenager that was on the moisture farm.
At the height of their power, they let Darth Sidious take control, and I'm like,
having
he's
to
not
deal
wrong.
with the ultimate forces in the universe, and you are the key to save everything.
It's a lot.
What does that do to a human brain? What does that do to your emotions? Like, it's not something that's easily that you can cope with.
Yeah.
I think this movie for me really showed the potentiality of what Star Wars could be.
Yeah.
Like, imagine Rise of the Skywalker having taken place like several years later, and that little kid realized he had Force powers. Went through the trials, shows up with a lightsaber with like 4 more other people that all have lightsabers. And, you know, like there's so many things that could have happened. But I think that this movie, calling it subversive just for subversive sake, is really downplaying what this movie was trying to do.
I think it's a love letter to Star Wars.
It's absolutely a love letter to Star Wars. And in the movie it says, let the past die.
Yeah.
Kill it if you have to. Like, yes, cool. Let's move on from this franchise. And people were not ready for that. Yeah. Which sucks.
And I think
which is why they need to suck your nuts.
I think and every time I hear people talk about how it's the worst one, I'm like, ooh, you're giving me power.
Yeah.
Ooh. And every time people go, you know, I liked everything but Canto Bite, I go, ooh, you know what? Canto Bite's the best part. Ooh, let me tell you why. Ooh.
I'm about to write my doctoral dissertation
on
Canto Bite.
Strengthening everything. But I love the line that Kylo says, and I know a lot of people pick up on that, whether they agree with it or disagree with it, but I think that the movie's thesis is that even Kylo was wrong because he is not the hero of that story.
Right.
And it's not about letting the past die, but learning from your mistakes, learning from the past. Failure, the greatest. And I wouldn't even talk about the Yoda moment.
He idolizes Darth Vader, and there's just so much failure in that.
Yeah.
That Yoda use of Yoda is so perfect.
I cried.
So good.
Yeah.
Where you know, just that whole scene where Luke's gonna burn it and he can't, but then the audience the audience learns later that like Rey took the books out of there anyway.
Yeah.
So then Yoda goes, and then lightning comes down, and then he's like, the sacred text, and he's just like,
page turners they were not.
It's the best, dude. It's the best. Failure, the greatest teacher is.
So
all right.
Yeah.
My number 3 movie of the decade is, we talked about it, is Avengers Endgame. Captain America wielding Mjolnir. I don't know. Hawkeye's family getting vaporized at the beginning of it, like Black Widow embracing her found family. Captain Marvel coming at the end and just being just a tank. That's all she does at the end.
Force,
Spider-Man wearing the spider armor suit and holding the Infinity Gauntlet and then riding on Valkyrie's winged horse. I'm like,
secret favorite moment.
I'm done.
I've come and conquered.
Secret favorite moment.
Yeah.
Giant man punching one of those giant worms in the face.
So
Hulk
good.
did that in Avengers 1. Like,
Yeah.
and then he comes in and just like, I could do a Hulk punch.
It is
no
a
problem.
good Ant-Man movie.
Ooh,
like Ant-Man
it's
in
good.
this movie is
It's
top
real
choice.
good. It's
His
real good.
reunion with his daughter is so
Yeah.
beautiful and
You mean
just-
regular size man?
yeah.
Regular size.
What's up, regular size man?
The revelation of Thor to me was so great.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
And it carried through all the way till the end. It wasn't.
Yes.
Oh man, when
he didn't get
I
abs.
love that he stayed chubby.
when he summons his weapons
Still
and
worthy.
turns into Thor and is
beautiful.
still worthy, I'm like,
Yeah.
this is my shit.
And he's so happy.
Yeah.
Renee
But
Russo,
he
great.
doesn't instantly get ripped.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Hulk and the Ancient One is great.
Yeah.
America's Ass, that whole sequence is
Yeah,
great.
that whole
Like
sequence is
the
fantastic.
Peggy
time
and
travel
Cap at
aspect
the end,
is
I'm
great.
like,
Peggy and
yeah.
Cap,
Yeah.
like the
Goddamn,
Act
man.
1 that is depression and sadness because the world has changed and it's 5 years, adds stakes and they kill Thanos and everything. Act 2 where it's time heist is so great. And then Act 3, where it's just like comic book orgasm. Comic book orgasm is Act 3, and it's the coolest shit ever. And then my number 2 and number 1 movies, we're not going to talk about because they're also on Augustine's list. Number 2, Coco from 2017, and number 1, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse from 2018. Avengers Endgame was from 2019, obviously from this year. So that's my top 10 movies of the decade. Number 1, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Of course. I mean, we will get into it.
We will get into
it.
Augustine, you want to do
is
this in
order?
order?
Let's do the same thing. Let's do the same thing.
10 to 6. 10 to 6.
So I did the same version that Hector did.
Here we go.
We're doing my 10th favorite movie of the decade. It's a very personal 10th favorite movie for me because my name is in the credits.
Yeah, baby.
And I will never not show that off. Even though it's misspelled, my name is in the credits of this one.
Hell yeah.
Avengers 1. I remember the reason why this movie is very special to me is because it was the first time I saw my name on the big screen, first of all, which was awesome. But it was on the Disney lot. One of my dreams is still to work for Disney.
Cool.
Yeah.
Like I would,
We technically did.
I mean, technically we did.
Yeah.
We did. Not for Disney.
Yeah.
But we did work with
Adjacent.
Disney.
Yeah.
Right? So,
Yeah.
we worked Disney adjacent. And then this kind of started our whole career. Like, I think I have something like 12 Marvel movies under my belt.
Yeah.
We worked on a
Quite a
lot of
few.
Marvel movies after this point. But this one was special because it's the first time I saw my name on the big screen. But also this movie, I think the iconic shot is when the Avengers are first assembling on the streets of New York.
So
like, we didn't realize how cool a shot like that would be.
Yeah.
And I think that they pulled it off really,
Cap.
really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
good.
they
So
did a
good.
lot of really cool things in that movie. But let's move on to number 9.
One thing I will say about Avengers, I may have mentioned this to you guys before, but when I first saw it, I saw it incomplete, and I thought it looked like shit.
Well, that's for a lot of movies
Well,
that
listen,
we were working
I know.
on.
And
too.
to
I was like, what
to
is this
be
ho- what is this
completely
TV
fair,
movie?
To be completely fair, it has since become one of the lesser attractive Marvel movies. They've gotten
Right.
better
Sure.
at how they
Absolutely.
film their movies. They've
Absolutely.
gotten
I
better
mean,
how
Joss
they
Whedon's a
look.
TV director, so
Exactly.
it kind of goes
It's,
Yeah,
with the
you know,
territory,
absolutely.
yeah.
And my list is very biased because like I just these are movies that I love. They're
Yeah.
not necessarily
I mean,
like strongest
it's
in the
your
script or
favorite
VFX
films.
or, it's my favorite films. So let's move on
So
to
eat a
number
bullshit, everyone.
Yeah.
number 9, 2016, Rogue One. This movie, first of all, Latino protagonist, Mexican protagonist. I was tagging myself in wedding photos on Facebook.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I
this is
I don't tag
hilarious.
myself all the time. Like I'll tag my foot,
Yeah.
or I'll tag like whatever's in the background. But then I hovered over my face and it said, "Do you want to tag Diego Luna?" Fuck yeah, I do. Hell yes, I want to tag Diego Luna. Thank you, Facebook. I appreciate
the one thing
the
Facebook
compliment.
did right.
The one thing Facebook did right.
So
So
funny.
this movie hit me so hard at the end. Has a very, very strong ending. Specifically, I'm talking about the deaths of the two characters. But also, the Vader fight was really great. I think coming into a movie where you know what the ending's going to be, where you know that it's not going to go right for these characters, they freaking knocked it out of the park. Like the VFX, first of all, I think this is one of the first times where they kind of returned back to the original Star Wars look
Era,
and VFX of things.
Yeah.
So it was very important for them to get things right as far as the accuracy and the look of the 70s and everything happening correctly. They knocked it out of the park,
Yeah.
first of all. That
It's
was
my
impressive.
second favorite Star Wars movie, Rogue
Yes.
One. I
Yes.
love it.
I remember when I was at Star Wars Celebration and Pablo, what's his name?
Hidalgo. Yeah.
was there, and he was like, "Hey, bloggers, get your notepads ready. I'm
Yeah,
about to
yeah,
tell
yeah.
you the premises of Rogue One."
Right.
And he starts reading it off that a rogue group of resistance, rebels try to steal the Death Star plans. I lost my shit.
Yeah,
It's great.
absolutely.
I was so into that premise and that concept, and Rogue One, I mean, there's only been 2 spin-off movies.
Yeah.
But Rogue One is so damn good and so rewatchable.
Right.
I love the characters. I love the relationships. And I love how it ties to the greater Skywalker story, but it's also its own thing.
Right. It's also it ties into it, but it's not reverent to
Yeah.
Luke Skywalker and Leia being the only
Right.
the
No.
forces in the universe.
There's
no,
great hints to all that stuff.
like
but
fucking Chirrut. What's his name?
Chiwetel
Enway.
Chirrut
Chirrut Enway.
Chiwetel Ejiofor.
His
He's not in
character
this movie.
Yeah.
made me cry
Yeah.
just because he's not force sensitive.
Yeah.
But he has
He's
such
a
a deep
believer.
belief in the force that he put himself in harm's way to save everybody's life.
Yeah.
I am one with the Force, and
Donnie
the Force is with. What
So
is it?
good.
Is that what he says?
Yeah.
I'm one with
the Force is with me.
Yeah.
That's the
Dude,
one thing that Rogue One did
insane.
incredibly well, was it really tapped into like the spirituality of Star Wars.
Absolutely.
And you needed those two characters to do that, and
Right.
it does it really, really well.
Right. It not just the spirituality, but like, what does something like the Force do to the greater
Yes.
universe that maybe is not Force sensitive, but that wants to be a part
wants
of the
to
Force.
understand it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's that character.
I also
That's
really
that guy.
like. I think Jyn Erso is a little bit slept on as a protagonist. Her
Yeah.
sort
I
of
love
journey.
her. She's
I
great.
know a
She's
lot of
great.
people are like, it's not great. I'm like, look,
Really?
it's
I
to
don't
me,
know.
it's the same basic journey that like
Yeah.
Luke went on, for kind of different reasons and stuff in Inverse. But the way that she acts with Mads Mikkelsen's her father
Galen,
character,
yeah.
Galen Erso, is like beautiful,
That's
beautiful
beautiful.
I
stuff.
forgot we got Mads Mikkelsen in a Star Wars movie.
So
That's
I know.
good,
It's
but
insane.
and
It's
Ben
great.
Mendelsohn.
Ben Mendelsohn.
Oh
as
look,
Orson
it's
Krennic.
Lyra back from the
Yeah.
dead. When since she died, yes, lonely for Fama.
Yeah.
All
All right. Let's stop gushing about
Yeah.
that movie because I really want to get
Rogue
into
One,
my
Rogue
next
One.
pick.
Yes.
My number eight pick.
Yeah.
My number 8 pick is 2015's Creed.
Amazing.
This movie, I came in not expecting anything, just like, cool, let me see what else they have to offer in Rocky's universe, because I was already a fan of the Rocky movies.
Did you think that it was directed by Sylvester Stallone?
I
when you
thought
went
it
into
was directed by Sylvester
Okay.
Stallone at first. This is my first introduction to Ryan Coogler, and I had known about Michael B. Jordan, but
Yeah.
I wasn't really blown away by the guy. But just everything in this movie came together, and I didn't expect such a good performance from specifically Sylvester Stallone.
Amazing.
He won the Golden Globe, and I was like, you deserve it, man.
Much
It was
deserved,
amazing.
much deserved. And so this movie is so slept on to this point where I'm still pissed off that it hasn't gotten any Oscars, and the fact that they're still not nominating it. What the fuck? I'm just kidding. No. I know it's not going to win
Also,
anything else.
introduction, for me at least, to Tessa Thompson.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
And
I
then
was
Marvel
not
did
very-
the smart move of scooping up all those actors and directors.
Not even Ryan Coogler.
Yeah.
They saw the potential with this movie, which is fantastic. But this movie it sucker punched me and you, and it left us
Dude.
crying like babies. The whole aisle was shaking because Adam and I were just like, like, yeah,
You
like
could do
ugly
this.
crying.
You got this. You're a winner, and
Yeah.
I love you, kid, and you
Yeah.
could do it.
Yeah.
When he says
I'm going to
that,
put fucking Creed on as soon as you two
Yeah,
leave.
it's great. That what was it? 15. It was not a 15-minute shot. It's the long shot inside
great.
the ring.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
like
the
a
whole
5-minute
first
shot,
round,
right?
the
Amazing.
whole first round,
It's
yeah.
like a 5-minute long
Yeah.
shot.
Yeah.
That was really impressive.
Amazing.
I mean, the story's just everything in this movie is just firing on all cylinders. And so
Yeah.
that's why that one is my number 8 pick of the list. Number 7 pick of the decade. 2010's Scott Pilgrim versus the World. I'm really glad we got to watch this for the podcast.
that was
Me
fun.
too.
Because it reminded me how much I fucking love this movie. It's so good. It was so good that Cynthia and I watched it a couple days after too at home because I was like, "You have to watch this movie."
Yeah.
She actually didn't see Scott Pilgrim as an asshole like you did. Right off the
Interesting.
bat. She was like, "I don't see what's wrong. He's just a kid. He's just acting
he's
like
just
a kid does."
He's just a
Which
kid.
is the conclusion we came to
Yep.
at the end of the movie.
Stupid 23-year-old
Just
or whatever.
a stupid kid,
Yeah.
and you're just like, okay. She was a little weirded out by
Dating a high schooler.
no, not even that.
'Cause it's a
she wasn't
stupid
even
kid
weirded
that-
out
I
because
know.
she's a stupid kid. By when it started getting very video gamey,
Sure.
so
sure.
she didn't understand like the lullaby song that was coming
Uh-huh.
up. Like she was like, "Why are we all of a sudden in like a Mario Brothers world?"
Yeah.
and I think that kind of took her out of it. But us as geeks and a little bit of gamers and stuff
Yeah.
like that, we really understood the power of having that kind of imagery into this
Yep.
kind of movie.
Yep.
For me, also specifically, the musicality of this movie, the giant monster fights that they're having, when they're just on stage playing the drums and the bass and everything, just I keep saying it, but that's the way they presented music playing is how it feels to play music. So
Yeah.
really, really dope. What do you guys?
Awesome.
what do you
Watching
guys
it
say?
with you guys was my first time watching it all the way through, and I like
Really?
I
Oh, I didn't know
adored-
that.
Yeah.
Genius movie.
I had seen it like in bits and pieces, but that was my first time just sitting down and like going.
Yeah.
I think it's
Okay.
my favorite Edgar Wright film still. I
It's so
think
good.
it edges out Shaun of the Dead for me, which is another movie I love.
And Baby Driver.
Yeah, definitely edges out Baby Driver.
Wow.
I liked a lot of Baby Driver, but I felt like the cool stuff was happening in the beginning and the end stuff with some of the plot
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
and John Hamm as a bad guy. I was like, it's not my favorite. But this movie, top to bottom,
solid all the way
solid.
through.
It's just eye candy.
Edgar Wright replied to your tweet about having
That was fun.
having what's his name do a commentary.
Chris Evans.
Chris
In
Evans.
character as Lucas Lee.
There you go, Lucas Lee.
And he was
commentary.
like, I think Edgar Wright was like, that's actually hilarious. And I really hope it happens next year.
One day.
10th anniversary next year, 2020.
Please. Chris Evans, if you
Please
ever
do it.
even listen to anything we're saying, please do that. Okay, so let's move on to my number 6 and 5. I'm going to do these together because I feel like they're one big movie.
Okay.
5 and 6 are Avengers Endgame and Infinity War.
Yeah.
I feel like these are just two big movies that are generation-defying, specifically for people our age because we were the prime target audience for this kind of thing.
Yeah.
I never imagined in my entire life. I remember running around as a little kid imagining I was Wolverine.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was like the coolest thing ever. I remember running around like going like this and like fake blasting things with my eyes.
Yeah.
You know, like even though the X-Men aren't a part of this universe,
It's still Marvel.
it was still the Marvel. It let me imagine things that I would never imagine in my life before.
Yeah.
And to see it put on the big screen was that little kid inside of me waking back up and saying, holy crap, like this is what you wanted. And we're getting it, and it paid off so well, and it wrapped everything up. To me personally, I feel movie-wise that I like Infinity War better just because I do like that
ending.
not every movie
That
ends
snap.
in a good way.
The Thanos smile on the farm.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the
like
fucking
just
best.
that, like fuck you won. What are we gonna do? Like I love that. But also, we talked about this 100 times.
Yeah.
On your left,
Yep.
picking up the hammer.
Yep.
It's just
Yep.
everything is just bing bang boom
I-
amazing.
Am Iron Man. Which was a decision that happened in post-production,
Yeah.
y'all. Them figuring
That's right.
out
That was
how
the very last
I
shot
think
that
it was
they
like
shot.
3 months before the movie came
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
God.
My friend was
perfect.
My friend was a. She is the.
It's like, how did it end
first-
otherwise?
I think she's the first AD's assistant.
Wow.
She was on set that day when that happened,
Yeah.
and
I'm
she
sure
didn't
people
tell me who
cried.
it was, but she was like, "We're filming a major death scene today." I was like, "Oh, the movie comes out in 3 months. Who the fuck is it?"
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah,
Well, that's
pretty
the way
wild.
you keep people on their toes.
Yeah,
Amazing.
but I remember Avengers Infinity War at the end of that movie, where I think we saw it at El Cap, and it just ending and me sitting there going
Yep.
like, "You fuckers."
Yep. And then it said Thanos will return.
Yeah.
Yep.
Bastards.
Yeah.
Man.
So
That's great.
next movie on the list, number 4 on my list, 2017's Logan.
Good year.
So
Good year.
Wonder
2017 was
Woman
a good
also
year.
came out this year.
Yeah. I know.
So this was a tough pick for me because Wonder Woman. I'm going to give honorable mention to Wonder Woman on this
Yeah,
one because
for sure.
She
Wonder
was
Woman
she
is
was in my
amazing.
top like 15, top 12.
Yeah,
Yep.
definitely. That movie came out, and just rewatching it at your house
That
when we were watching
scene.
that scene
Oh,
in 3D.
yeah.
No Man's Land
Man's
is
Land,
a trend-setting just work of art.
Triumph.
But as far as Logan goes, I feel like this was Logan's Endgame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what paid off for Logan. This is what we've always wanted Wolverine to be. And it sucks that it took this long to get to Logan. But if all that stuff happened just so that we could get Logan,
Sure.
I'm so
worth
down
it.
with
Sure.
it because this movie broke expectations. I'm glad that they kind of just let them do whatever they kind of wanted to do. And the proof's in the pudding, really.
Yeah.
It gave us
Yeah.
X-23. It gave us a distressed Wolverine who's,
So good.
like at the end of his life. What does a person like that do when they have this child around them? So it was
My favorite moments
was really
between him and Xavier.
And that's
I
that
mean,
father-son.
the
Yeah.
father-son thing.
Nails you,
Not even
right?
father-son, but like father-son with father disability,
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of. Like, what
and
do
a
you
daughter
do?
in the mix now.
Daughter
Losing
in the
daughter
himself.
figure.
Yeah. Like, what do you do with all this kind of stuff? And then her reading the comic books
Yeah.
and like him having to face his past.
Yeah.
I'm just like, this movie hits so hard on every moment, and
Yeah.
the death scene is what really got me.
I will never forget the moment of seeing that cross turn into an
Yeah.
X.
Yeah.
And my heart just going
Yeah.
boom, 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 boom,
Yep.
boom, and my eyes just went.
Ay, Dios mío! Oh my
I
God!
turned to Cameron Rice. I'm like, I'm sorry. He's like, no, man, cry.
It's
I'm
good.
like,
Just
okay.
let it go.
I'll never forget. I had a chance to see it in black and white. at a movie
that's
theater.
right. You went to the
At a movie
screening,
theater. I went to the
yeah.
screening in Los Angeles, and it's a sadder movie in black and
Yeah.
white. In color, it's more visceral. In
Yeah.
color, the violence is not comic booky, but I think it's just something in your brain is like, yeah, this is a movie. They're filming it.
Yeah.
There's special effects, squibs, like whatever.
Yeah.
Seeing it in black and white, it's not as fun.
Absolutely.
It's more of a downer,
It's
and
more
it's
tragic.
like, oh no, Laura,
Yeah.
the little girl X-23, like she's in peril, like she's getting thrown around by
Yeah.
grown men. Like, no, this is
Yeah.
bad, this is bad, and
Yeah.
it's not like, yeah, get him, chop him up. You're like, shit, oh
You're like,
God.
that's a little girl who
Wonderful.
maybe have defenses, but it's a
Yeah, the
little
black
girl.
and white version is
Yeah.
fantastic, but such a good movie.
Now we're moving into the good stuff, you guys.
I'm happy, man. Out of your top 10, you only got 4 in 2D. Augustine, well done. Well done.
I don't think any of my movies are in 3D.
Yeah,
Oh, Infinity War.
CBB,
Infinity
CBB,
War.
buddy.
CBB.
Yeah.
Could be
yeah.
better.
Yeah,
Could be better.
CBB,
Yeah.
All right, so my number 4 pick was
Bro.
also a left field kind of thing.
This is your number
This-
3. This is
Oh
your
yeah, I'm sorry, number 3.
This beat slaps hard.
Dude, this
Yep.
so this is movie Mad Max Fury Road has arguably for me the best trailer ever created for any movie ever.
I will never forget the day
Ooh.
when we were working on Mad Max Fury Road, and I was like, this movie looks so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
The trailer came out. He literally got up and ran to my desk. Was like, "You gotta watch the trailer for Mad Max. You gotta." I was like, "It can't be that good." I sat there and I watched, and I was like, "This is gonna be the best movie of the year."
Yeah,
I think I saw it
Wow.
4 times in
Yeah,
theaters.
and we saw that trailer just all day the rest of
my
that
God.
day.
Bum, 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 bum,
Just-
bum, bum, bum.
I had
Oh,
never seen a
man.
trailer like that. I had never seen a trailer excite me
It
like that.
blew my
It just
pants
it
off.
was just absolutely insane. And then to see the end result of this movie as good as it is,
Yeah.
because Adam and I, were you working with us at
No,
that point
I
anymore?
wasn't, but I remember
you guys
So
talking about
Adam
this
and I were watching
nonstop
the
working on that movie.
pre-production scenes on
Yeah.
that. We were watching the guy with the guitar on the rig,
Mm-hmm.
and we were like, what is this garbage? Like, this
Yeah.
looks so dumb.
Because like everything that we got, so like when we worked in VFX, we have all the raw footage, and it has
Yeah.
like the wires, it
Yeah,
has green
yeah,
screens.
It's not
it-
color corrected.
There's no
It's
color
not color-
correction.
that
It's
was the biggest
completely-
thing.
The biggest thing was the color.
color correction,
completely
yeah.
flat.
It was grayed
and,
out.
and I was like, this is gonna be so stupid.
Yeah,
I don't
it
want to
looked
work on this
lame.
movie.
Yeah.
And we worked on it for about 3 months before the
Yeah,
trailer came out. And then the second the trailer came out, I was like, I want every shot in this
Give
movie.
me every
I
single
want.
shot.
I will not sleep. I want this movie.
Wow.
I never got my name in it.
I
but-
love this movie so much that I named my motorcycle Furiosa.
Hell yeah.
So because
Yep.
she's my war rig,
Yeah.
she's all rusted out, and that's the way I like it. So yeah, this movie.
This decade was good to Tom Hardy.
Heck yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
Goddamn.
Tom Hardy killed it in this decade. And what else? What else about this movie? I guess everything is just so exciting
The
about
music.
this. There's never a moment where I
Fuck.
don't want to watch this
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
Every time it's on TV, I'll always watch it.
This
on
also
the
has a black and white edition. They call it the black and
Does.
chrome edition.
Oh,
Yep.
that's
I
right.
have
Yep.
not seen it yet.
Yeah.
I think
and
Keller
really
has
like
it.
to. Really?
Yeah, you
It's
guys
on the
don't have it.
Blu-ray. Yeah, I
Yeah,
really
yeah.
would like to see it.
Yeah,
It's
I
2D
kinda
though,
wanna
not
see
in
that
3D.
too.
I
Sorry.
know. The 3D in this movie is great. It's
pretty bonkers.
Because we
Yeah.
did it.
Cool. Yeah, because we did it. Actually, if there's in 2010, if there was 3D, we worked on a lot of it actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Because this was our VFX decade.
Yeah.
All right, now the good stuff, guys. Good stuff. 2018's number 2 movie. 2018's Coco.
It's actually 2017.
Oh yeah, 2017.
It is.
My bad
It
because
came out the
I
end
can't
of
read.
2017.
Because
Yep.
I can't read apparently. This movie, I'm glad that we all watched it together. Wait, did we all watch it together at the
Yeah, we
at
did
the beginning?
We did the.
At the beginning.
when it first came out.
Yeah, no, we
I
didn't all
was at-
watch it
I
together.
was at
That's
Disney.
right. That's
Yeah.
right. But I'm glad that we all
Oh.
watched it together at the Hollywood Bowl.
That
That
was
was an experience.
amazing.
One of the best.
So I had loved this movie from frame one, day one.
Yeah.
As soon as the mariachi music was playing over that logo,
Done. I'm
game over.
Done.
Like you got it. You got the chancla in there. You got the
So
you
good.
got the flowers. You got the
Go get my
reverence
chancla.
to family. Just everything. But I think the game changer for me was watching it at the Hollywood Bowl.
Yeah.
They added the performances, the live music,
Yeah.
the way that the entire Hollywood Bowl turned into an ofrenda, and
Yeah.
it changed with every scene. Like it was just the stage adapted to the movie, and then the music. They would pause the movie so you could have a special
Yeah,
musical
live
break and
performance, yeah.
dancers, and just like it was just at that moment I felt like Disney was paying homage to our Mexican culture well.
Sure.
But at that moment, watching it there, I felt seen as
Yeah.
a Latino, but also as a Mexican. Like, I felt like they weren't doing it just to pander to me.
Yeah.
They were doing it out of respect and showing me that, hey, I love your culture and I want to show it off to the world. And it's really cool to go to a Mexican restaurant, like when you guys went to the wedding.
Yeah.
That movie's just playing in the background. That
All the
movie's
time.
just a staple in Mexican households everywhere.
Yeah.
It's the biggest movie in Mexico.
And I think it beautifully described Dia de los Muertos in a way that people are now not confused and they understand and you know, they understand what the holiday is.
Yeah.
It's my number one Pixar movie with a bullet. Number one with a bullet.
Easily.
And it is, even though I think that you could look at it cynically and go, why did Disney Pixar decide to make this movie?
Right.
There's clearly a large movie-going audience that is Mexican and Latin American. Duh. It's in the United States. It's apparently like the highest group of people that go to the movies. That demographic is like Mexican people that go to the movies, and are also oftentimes the least represented in the movies that they go to see. But that is all.
Suicide Squad.
Yeah, that is all true. That like Disney looked at that, and I think they smartly were like, "This is a market we can appeal to." But you cannot deny that the people who worked on the movie.
Right.
I had a chance to meet and interview a few of them. You know, you can see all of that in the behind the scenes and the featurettes and the special features and the commentary. You cannot deny that the people who actually worked on the movie set out to do what you're describing, to accurately and respectfully show this culture and world in a way that is not cheap or opportunistic or pandering. It's so beautiful. It's so great. The story itself is wonderful. I cry every time I watch the movie, and it's also really damn funny, and it's just the best.
Adam, as a non-Latino,
Honorary
your
Mexican. Honorary Mexican.
give us your take on this movie.
Coco.
Fucking love this movie. The second that she threw the chancla at him and was like, "Go get my chancla," I was like, I know those. I know those slippers real well. I may not be Mexican, but Czech slippers are just as bad.
Something's translates.
That's what I love about that movie, is that the movie just lets worldwide audiences know, like, hey, everybody's Mexican. Everybody has like that Mexican grandma. No matter who you are, everybody has that Mexican grandma. You know?
There's things.
And I think like also like, you know, there's such beauty in the way that movie's designed, the look of the look, the color, everything.
Yes.
The characters are so funny and entertaining. The relationships are great.
Yeah,
it is by far one of my favorite Pixar movies. And you're right,
quality.
though. It's like I never really thought it is very educational.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think
And
that's
does it in the
such
best
an added
way.
bonus.
Totally bonus, because you're not sitting there going, okay, they're teaching
guess I
me
gotta
about
learn
like,
something.
Like in the same way when I watched like The Big Sick, Kumail Nanjiani,
Yeah.
I did learn about like his culture and his heritage, right?
He's Pakistani?
Yeah, and I learned that in a funny and organic way because it's
Yeah.
just a part of his life and everything.
Right.
Even though there's a whole scene where he is literally telling as his one-man show like the history of Pakistan,
Yeah.
which is really funny, and he's like teaching you about cricket, and I'm like, that's great. But the same way as like The Big Sick, it's like you learn about a person's background without the know a story halting so you can do it.
Right.
It's just part of the story, and it's beautifully done.
Adam, you said everybody in that movie is beautiful except for Ernesto de la Cruz.
Oh, fuck
him.
that guy.
Yeah.
Fuck
Forget
that
you.
guy.
He's a son of a
Forget
bitch.
You murdering son of a
Forget
bitch.
you.
All right, Hector.
Woo-hoo.
And I guess Adam, I feel like this should be your number one movie of the decade too, but that's just me projecting.
From 2018.
Number one movie of the decade for me, 2018, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Same for me. We had the same number ones and two, bro.
It's because we're Mexican.
Spider-Man. Yeah, that's right. And Mexicans know that there's so few of us in movies that even when you're Puerto Rican, we're going to get in on that.
Oh,
we're sharing that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And we feel,
Ours.
you know,
Like,
ours
I see
as
you,
well.
I see you, bro.
What's
I
that?
see you.
She spoke Spanish? Also
mine.
Mexican in this
You're
movie.
mine.
Yeah.
Gotcha, bitch.
Miles Morales? Yes. The Mexican delegation will now recruit Miles Morales.
Miles
No.
Morales, absolutely,
No,
and his
he's-
whole family.
He's black. He's Puerto Rican. He's Spider-Man. He's all three of those things at once. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Perfect movie?
I feel like it is a perfect movie.
Yeah.
It's perfect for me, absolutely, because it speaks to me on so many different levels.
Hip-hop, Spider-Man, comic books, animation.
Just everything, storytelling, the way it's designed, just everything in general. The What's Up Danger scene, just everything is just firing on all cylinders at every frame of this movie.
Yep.
There's not a moment where I can point and be like, I didn't really enjoy that. And that's obviously me being biased because I'm just so into this. But I find it hard to criticize this movie on any levels.
No.
You know? I really can't.
It's really hard to do visually. I think it is stunning visually. And in terms of the story, it's funny when it needs to be funny. It's heartbreaking when it needs to be heartbreaking. It's a perfect introduction to Miles Morales' Spider-Man. And it's also like the Lego Batman movie.
Yeah.
And even something like Skyfall, the James Bond Skyfall. It's this movie that like sums up the whole thing that it's based on. Like this movie to me is the way that you explain to people why Spider-Man is what it is.
Yeah.
You know, if I love Spider-Man and I have since I was a kid, and people are like, Spider-Man, I don't really get it. I would show, you know what I mean? You show them this movie because it encapsulates everything. Even at the beginning, you see the popsicle.
Yeah.
Like they hit everything. The Spidey bells, like everything is hit about this character. Even the post-credit scene has the '60s cartoon joke meme, like, while still being like a fresh, brand new story that's about Miles, and it's earned. By the end of it, when that comic book lands and it's Miles as Spider-Man, you're like,
that's it.
He did it.
That's what you want. Yeah,
he did it.
I mean, and also the fresh take. I really like the fresh take on Doc Ock. Good. It's insane.
Olivia.
It's insane. Yeah, Olivia was just Doc Ock. I never expected that twist, really.
So good.
But that twist was in the entire movie, if you pay attention. It's just everything that they did with this movie was just so well thought out. The comedy lands. The story points are there. I can talk good things about this movie.
I know.
Just nonstop. What about you, Adam?
I think the thing that impressed me the most about this movie is the way in which it, like how it was made.
Yes.
You know, and how they were able to take the various animation styles and beautifully integrate it into one movie.
Yeah.
Because I remember seeing the teaser trailer for the first time, and I don't think I understood just how like mind-blowing it was.
That's a tough movie to trailerize. That's a tough
and
movie.
it wasn't until I actually sat down and I saw all of these techniques all playing together in the same movie so beautifully, like so pitch perfect. I thought, this is crazy. I can't believe it took this long for a movie to do
like
that.
this,
But I'm so glad that it's a Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
Like I'm so glad it's something that like I would be there day one to go see.
Absolutely.
It's an incredible movie, and I love what it says about Spider-Man and the world and his characters and his relationships.
Anyone can wear the mask.
Yeah, it's
just
such
like Last
a strong
Jedi.
movie. It's such a strong movie. I love it.
Okay, Adam. Just because I'm curious, out of your list of 10 movies, is any one of these
the number one
movie of your
the number one movie of the decade
for you?
Ooh,
because we already have ours.
That's a good question.
Yeah. Is it even on this list?
Yeah, I would say it's on this list.
Oh.
If I were to pick one of these movies,
Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse. Good night. Good night, everybody.
Nice talking to you.
Cut it off. Cut it off, Lucas.
I'm gonna guess one. You're gonna guess one. I pick one that I think Adam's gonna pick for his number one from that list.
Are you gonna tell me?
Yeah. Do you have one, Augustine? We'll say it at the same time on three.
I kind of have two.
Okay. Oh, I'm like honing in on it. I think I know what it is.
Oh, man.
Pick one.
Okay, so we say it on three?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Chef.
Oh!
We know you, dude.
Did we
We
get
know
it?
you, dude. No, we didn't get it.
No.
I
we
would
didn't
say
get
it's
it.
Inception.
Ah, damn it.
Son of a
Damn it.
bitch.
I will,
Damn it.
and I will say it's Inception only because of technologically and story-wise how
I get it.
how advanced and how much it like pushed what I thought was kind of like the limit of filmmaking.
Yeah.
And it really made me rethink like, oh shit, this is a really interesting way to tell a story.
Yeah.
But Chef is my most feel good, happy,
Most watched. Yes.
most enjoyable, most influential probably movie too, because I wouldn't have picked up a fucking knife to save my life if it wasn't for Chef.
Hey, I mean, that's why I chose it as your number one movie.
Me too.
It's your secret number one. We're right. It's your secret number one.
But I love doing these lists. I know at the end of the year we've traditionally only done favorite movies of the year, but because we are at the end of the decade, it was a fun challenge to try to put together
this is great.
these lists.
And I'm very much looking forward to the next 10 years. We're stepping into the roaring 20s,
Dude,
y'all.
how crazy.
This is
This is
it's
wild.
crazy.
I'm gonna be a flapper.
I'm gonna be flapping all day.
Next year it will be 6 years since we've started doing this in its various iterations.
It's all of
Holy
its iterations.
shit.
Wow.
And who knows? Maybe we might do some revamps and refreshes for next year.
Yeah.
That would be
So
good.
this is the final episode of I believe this will now officially be episode number 100.
Why did we not celebrate?
We are.
We need cake. Water. Yeah.
That's true. We should have celebrated. So we can officially call this Hyper Heroes number 100.
Yep.
Thank you, everyone who has watched, not only for the last year and a half that we've been doing this, but ever since we've started 5.5 years ago doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
It was just like a little idea that we had while having lunch one day. And this guy was like, well, you got to bring Hector in on it because he loves superheroes. And I was like, that's a good idea. And it's just like, it spawned something crazy after all these years. So I'm super thankful to be able to get to do this with you guys every week. Even if we don't necessarily do a show every week, we always get to do something.
It's good times.
I love you guys. You guys are the best.
It's my favorite thing to do. It's my favorite thing to do. And anytime there's a week where it's like, I'm not available, I'm like, I guess I'm not going to do anything on Friday.
Listen, guys, I don't think I've ever kept with anything this long.
This is the thing that has inspired me to be able to do that as part of my work ethic. And Keller and I have been doing a podcast for 2 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is it's only because we've been doing this for 6 years.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It is crazy to think about.
It took 4 years of us doing something for me to be like, I think I can do. I'll do it with Keller.
I think I can
4
do
years.
I think I can record some audio.
Yeah. So
I
stupid.
think I can do it again.
I am really excited to see what 2020 brings. We are going to start planning stuff to implement some new things, change up some things. We love being able to do stuff every single week, but the nature of the platform is you have to kind of adopt with it, and you have to adapt new things into your pipeline. So we're going to continue working on stuff, and we're going to continue evolving and doing something new.
We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah.
If you're watching this now, if you want to comment below what types of videos and stuff that you would like to see us do or talk about or tackle, or maybe people that you'd like to see on the channel, or whether it's like, we like movie reviews, or we want to see more podcast episodes about TV show stuff, or
do you love our timeline
videos?
videos?
Whatever it is, something that you can think of that you're like, I like this
also,
when you did this.
And something that maybe like other channels don't offer.
Yeah.
There you go.
Or even something other channels do offer, but you think we could do better. Let us know, and we'll smoke them.
2020 is the year of working smarter, not harder.
That's
right.
Let's do that.
Absolutely, 100%. So thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you have the best new year. Enjoy it, and we'll see you in the year 2020.
In the year 2000.
In the year 2020.
2020.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Last Jedi, best Star Wars movie. Suck my nuts.